So if you walk into a room and you find that there's only 13% of the room that is Black American and 60% of the room is white American, you are actually walking into a room that is holistic.
Oh my gosh.
A room that actually represents America. You can't just say we want Black Americans to represent 90% of people in every single room. It just won't work.
It's about to get serious. It's about to get crazy.
Well, a lawsuit has been filed over a new teacher retention policy at Minneapolis Public Schools that critics say could result in white teachers being laid off first. Now, joining us virtually is a Minneapolis school teacher, Alexis, who wants to explain what has been happening in her district. So, Alexis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
There's a lot more to this than the headlines, correct?
Absolutely.
What is the issue? Because there is it has to do with seniority and
underrepresentation.
Right.
Those are the words that were used.
Okay, and the fact is, the vast majority of the
she iced out though. She got the gold. She got the diamond chain with the bust down diamond earrings. That's lit.
Teachers there are white, correct?
That's correct.
And so, if you just go straight proportionality, there are naturally going to be more white teachers released than Black teachers because there are just more in the pool.
Well, if you even look at our last accessing cycle, there were roughly 150 or so teachers that were laid off. 50 of those teachers were Black. So
30%.
You're always going to have,
33%.
anytime you're dealing with a layoff situation where you have, let me just give you the exact numbers. Minneapolis Public Schools, there are a total of 237 Black teachers. Of those Black teachers, 147 of them are tenured versus 2,652 white teachers, of which 2,129 are tenured.
So it sounds like, here's what happened. Apparently her district put into a rule that basically makes it harder to fire Black teachers. And I don't know how this happened. I think it came from a rule where 250 teachers were laid off and 50 of them that were fired were Black. But my thing, actually, I'm gonna just listen.
Clearly, there is a disproportionate amount of white teachers versus Black teachers. So the current policies that are in place favor continuing to have the same policies that produce these numbers.
Yeah. So what part of
really
that
white
does favor retaining the Black teachers?
It's not a black and white issue. It says underrepresented. So it protects teachers from underrepresented populations, which underrepresented could be based on sexuality. It could be based
underrepresented. Hey, y'all, where did this term underrepresented come from? Because I'm not used to hearing this term. Because let's say you're in college or something, like you're taking your major classes or whatever. Because I'm a student right now. And I never thought to myself, wow, I don't have that many whatever race professor. They're really underrepresented in this. I've never thought that. But at least not in the context of I want them to teach my classes. I don't necessarily care. I'm more so, can you teach me this? Will I know what you're talking about? How's your grading scale? I'm not really worried about the race or gender of my professor. But hey, to each their own, I guess. If that's a real issue, then hey, I don't know.
Based on gender, so to just cover it in a racial identification, I think is wrong.
Would you say that white teachers cannot conduct classrooms as successfully as Black teachers? But that's
what? That's racist. What?
True with students of color, correct?
So what I would say is that when we
what you did say.
Well, what I say is that when we look at teachers who are the most effective with teaching our most underrepresented students, they tend to be individuals who come from underrepresented backgrounds. But
Okay.
the reason that they're also affected.
That actually makes sense, because I was about to say, bruh, what he just said, that was just pure racism. Like, oh yeah, you're people need to start realizing color is color. Like, as a human, like, your color, you know, of course it could affect you, but honestly, color is color. It's really skin deep. So when you say like, oh, white people can't do this or black people can't do this, that's literally just pure racism, because color is color, bro. It doesn't change the alterations of your brain, whatever the crap. So I hope, but I do get what he's saying. Like, if you're from an underrepresented background or from a certain type of background, you're just more likely to, you know, help other people who are also from that same background. Just because y'all probably have the same communication or whatever. I'm not going to say like you're better at teaching them something, but you probably just relate to them a little more. I don't know. Hey y'all, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe.
Also with white students as well, is because oftentimes your faculty of color aren't solely focused just on the cognitive, but also on the relational. Because relationships are a foundational precondition to effective teaching, learning, counseling, advising, or any support practice. Said differently, it doesn't matter how good you teach. If you don't have a relationship with the student, you won't be as effective as you could be.
But on the other hand, though, like, I can see how this could be really racist. Because if somebody came to me and it was like, well, we hired someone from a different race over you because we thought that they could relate better with the team because they're from this area and you're not. That's racist, bro. Like, and I get what he's trying to say. I really do. Like, yeah, you could relate more, but I also still think it's kind of, you know, racist because, like, if the roles were reversed, and the roles have been reversed, like, for example, when the black teachers were getting fired in this area, they made a whole rule saying, like, they made it harder for the black teachers to be fired. But when the roles are reversed right now, and he's talking about it right now, he doesn't really see the connect. He doesn't see how they're like different sides of the same coin. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, if it was happening to me, it would be racist. But because it's not happening to me, you can't see how it's racist. Whatever.
And our faculty of color and staff of color tend to do that.
You're talking about the art of teaching. You're talking about building relationships. They are actually failing when it comes to actually teaching these kids things. This is why
who's failing?
I'm telling you, inner city communities. I'm talking about Baltimore, Minneapolis, Los Angeles. All of the inner city communities are failing black children because they're focusing on the art and not the actual facts. In Baltimore,
We're
as
talking
just
about
one
teacher
example,
diversity, though. You're referring to the full density of the school.
I'm talking about the art of teaching, which you're saying they're better for the student. They're actually not better for the student, right?
So you're saying that faculty of color are not effective?
In Baltimore, which is an inner city, which focuses, I suppose, on the art of teaching, they couldn't find a single black child, that was proficient in reading and writing, because they think
my God. Oh, she's right. She's right, because I literally just did a video about this. Y'all forgive me. I be forgetting, y'all. I have so much work. I have so much work to do. Like, I be forgetting. But I literally just did a video about this, like, 2 days ago about this topic. And, bro, she is definitely right. Like, inner city schools are literally failing. It was a school in Baltimore, y'all. If y'all didn't watch that video, make sure y'all go watch it and subscribe to the channel. And they had 0 students proficient in math, bro, throughout the entire school system, bro. It was crazy. So she's right.
Somebody who looks like you somehow means that it's going to be better. And also, please, I have to clarify this, because when we talk about these quotas and someone says, well, there's this many white people teaching and there's this many black people teaching, welcome to America. Black Americans, okay, I don't know how everybody's doing in their math these days. Black Americans represent just 13% of the population, okay, right? White Americans represent 60% of the population, okay? So if you walk into a room and you find that there's only 13% of the room that is Black American and 60% of the room is white American, you are actually walking into a room that is holistic, a room that actually represents America. You can't just say we want Black Americans to represent 90% of people in every single room. It just won't work mathematically.
But in her district, there's only 5% of those teachers are
Alexis, you want to say something?
I actually do. Candace, let me let you know that I am a teacher.
It's about to get serious. It's about to get crazy. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm just a little excited because the teacher is basically going to go against Candace Owens, and I think they're going to have a little back and forth. I don't know.
And I just had a conversation with a student last week. We're, like I said, half of the staff at the school where I work, we're Black or teachers of color. And we are a school where students come on we'll say temporary basis. It's not a destination school. So in preparing the student to transition to their new school that
What?
is a mainstream school, one of the things that
Mainstream.
student said is that I want to stay here. I want to stay here because there's more Black teachers here and I feel more comfortable around Black teachers. So I just want you to know that it's not necessarily a matter of the students, the art of teaching that makes these students feel more comfortable, but there.
Here's the problem, bro. Here's the problem. And I don't even want to do this. I don't. And I have nothing against this woman at all. I think she'd probably be an amazing teacher. But when it comes to school, when it comes to education, and y'all might disagree, but comfortability should not come before education. It should not come before your purpose to learn. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you are using comfortability to support the argument that there should, I guess, be more Black teachers, regardless of what happens, more representation, regardless of if they're better teachers or regardless of anything, and your main stance is because the Black students will be more comfortable and it's not because the Black students will be more educated, then I can't really take that argument seriously. Because when we do have the inner city schools like the one in Baltimore, I just did a video on it, where the kids literally cannot read. Like, they cannot read and they can't do no math. That's a real situation happening in Baltimore right now. Like, this is not something I'm just making up. Who cares if those students are comfortable? I'm sure those students are very comfortable. They probably are having the time of their lives at school. It's like a club. It's probably like a club when they go to school. Hey, let's get lit. Hey. All I'm saying is, bro, education comes first, point blank, period. Who cares if they're more comfortable here? I'm more comfortable at home, but I'm still at school.
There is research and science that shows that when you have a teacher that looks like you in your classroom, you do better. And also, I just wanted to say, with respect
They're
to
not doing better.
the
That's
numbers,
my point.
with respect to the numbers, that's because you see the numbers, right? You see that there's over 2,000 white teachers who are failing our students versus the 237 in the district that are getting cycled around to different schools based on hiring
That's just
policy.
incorrect. That's just incorrect. You
No,
are
it's not.
saying
It's
something
not.
that is not based on a study and not based on fact. Just because a teacher looks like you does not mean that you are going to perform better in that class based on your academic abilities.
Coming
I'll
up,
give you
how
an
do we
A.
address inequities without discriminating?
She's right. She's literally like, and I'm not even trying to be but she is literally right. Like, look at the I'm not even going to get into this, but bro, she is right. And I'm sorry to say, I don't even understand how this is a real debate. Like, you should just try to hire the best teacher that you can have. Like, and I get it. You want the students to be comfortable. You want the students to be, I guess, have some level of enjoyment when they go to school. But my thing is this. The number one priority is education. And unless the teacher is harassing the students and going out their way to, make the students feel like garbage when they at school, then it's okay. Because when you enter to the real world, you're not thinking about, oh, I quit this job because it didn't make me feel as comfortable as I did when I was at this job. I mean, unless it's like hurting you, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Like, if it's education, you have to study more. You have to do what you got to do. Point blank, period. I don't know why it's so hard for, our people to, admit that.
Against another set of people. We'll talk about that next.
And that's the video, y'all. Like, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, y'all. Let me know if y'all agree with me or disagree with me. It's LFR Jojo, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.